Hi everyone, and welcome to episode number 38 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania, where I live, where I work, where I knit, and where I get into all kinds of other crafty shenanigans. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. I hope you enjoy it here and hope you stick around. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back for another week to see what I've been up to and what type of knitting and what I've accomplished in the past week. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, it would make me so happy if you would. It's a tiny little channel and I would just love to get some new subscribers. I'd appreciate it immensely. So there's my shameless plug and beg for love. So today is Halloween. Happy Halloween. Here's my little pumpkin. It is Saturday, October 31st, 2020. And it's late in the afternoon. It's 3:45 almost already. It's a nice, partly cloudy day. It's getting colder. I'm in longer sleeves and I'm loving this weather. Absolutely loving this weather. So today I only have one work in progress to show you, and then I thought what I would do is take you on a little tour of some things that I've made in the past. And there's a theme with these, and you'll see that in just a little bit. So my one work in progress is my Slipstravaganza Mystery Shawl by Stephen West, and I have only worked on this shawl. It's the only knitting project I've worked on in the past week. And I'm still behind. So clue number 1 came out early in October, on I think the 9th of October. Finished that. The bonus, they put out a bonus clue. Finished that. They put out clue number 2 on I think the 16th? No, the 12th, no. Yes, the 16th. 16th of October. I'm not finished that. I'm still on clue number 2. Clue number 3 has come out, and clue number 4, the final clue, has now also come out yesterday morning. I'm still on clue number 2. So I have 4, 8, 11 rows. 11 rows left to do, and I will be finished clue number 2. And then I can finally move on to clue number 3. So I'm getting way behind. I'm not quite halfway through. Probably in the next couple days, there's probably going to be people in the Ravelry group that are already showing people pictures of their finished shawls. Maybe I'll finish mine by the end of November. But as you remember back to when I first started and I cast on this shawl, I knew I would fall behind. I always do. It's a big project, and I don't have enough hours in the day, or enough free hours in the day, and enough strength in my hands to keep up with it. So I fall behind. I accept that. I'm perfectly fine with that. I know what's going to happen, and I just go with it. And I enjoy the knit. I still have not looked at what clue number 3 looks like, nor have I seen what clue number 4 looks like. So hopefully I will finish clue number 2. I'm hoping I'll get it finished tomorrow. Hopefully. Not 100% sure, but I'm hoping to finish it. I'm hoping to get it finished by tomorrow. So I'm using, what do I have here? 3.25 millimeter needles, or US 3. I'm using whole super soft yarn for this, and I'm using 4 colors. I have my main color, pineapple, and then I have 3 shades of pink: sugar snap, geranium, and carmine. So it's a light, medium, and a darker reddish pink. So those are my 4 colors. And I say I've made a goodly amount of progress since last week, but I'm still on clue number 2. So since this is a mystery knit, even though most people are probably far ahead of me and anything I'm showing is no longer a surprise to them, if you happen to be even slower than I am at knitting this, or you want to join in at a later date and you still want to keep it a surprise, I will put up a little note on the screen to let you know that, or to let you know when I'm going to show the shawl, and then I'll put a little note at the end of that, or on that page that'll pop up, that will tell you, whoops, bumped the tripod, sorry. I'll put another little timestamp on there to let you know what time it's safe to come back and look. So I'll put a little timestamp along here to let you know when it's safe to look back if you're still trying to keep it a surprise. So I'm going to show my progress now. So if you are wanting to keep this a surprise, spoiler alert, look away now, and I will tell you when it's safe to come back. So again, as I said, I'm not done clue number 2 still, but here is what it's looking like. So it has the light, then medium, then dark, then light, then it goes dark, medium, and all I have left to do is 3 more rounds of the neutral, or the main color, 4 rows of the light, and then 4 more rows of the main color again. And then clue number 2 will be complete. So that's what this clue is looking like. It's really pretty. I'm really loving this shawl. My progress since last week is from that blue marker upwards. So I have made a good amount of progress. It's just that each row we're up to now, I think, getting closer to 450 stitches. It's safe to look back now. We're up to something like 450 stitches per row. So it's going the entire length of a row. It takes a long time. For me, it does. To knit over 400 stitches, it takes me a long time to get from one end of the shawl all the way back over to the other end of the shawl. So that's the main part that's holding me back, is that it's a lot of stitches. A lot of stitches. So I'm enjoying it. It's a fun knit. I'm loving what the shawl is looking like now. I love my color choices, and I'm loving how it looks, how the progress and how the project is looking as I'm continuing to make progress. I'm very curious to see what the next 2 clues look like. I still do want to keep it a surprise, although they did drop a little bit of a hint in the email that came out about the last clue. So I have a rough idea of what it looks like, or a rough idea of what it's probably going to look like, the structure of it. But beyond that, I don't know what the color combinations are going to be, but we shall see. So as soon as I'm finished clue number 2, I will print up clue number 3, and I will see what that's going to look like. And I think I will keep clue number 4 a surprise. Yeah, I think I am going to continue to keep it a surprise for myself, because I like the idea of this, keeping it surprising for me. So that's my slipstravaganza shawl, and that's all there is for knitting I've done this week. I'm working on a cup of tea. Should have talked about this at the beginning. It's a BIGELOW tea. It's called Cinnamon Stick. It's a black tea with cinnamon flavor. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. My husband was at a retreat with some work colleagues of his, and they had some extra things that they had bought, a bunch of food and stuff. So they sent a bunch of stuff home with the different guys that were there, and they had bought this box of tea. The person who was organizing and running it, they bought a box of tea, and none of the guys at the retreat were interested in tea. None of them touched it. So it was a completely unopened box. And my husband's and everyone else is like, no one in my house drinks tea. And so none of these guys even wanted to take it home, except my husband. So he thought, no, he was pretty sure I would enjoy it. And he was right. I really do. It's really nice, a really nice tea. And I'm very much enjoying it. So since I don't have any other knitting progress to show you this week, I thought what I would do is take you down a little trip down memory lane with some knitting projects I've done in the past. And part of this is actually me starting to anticipate a cast on that I'm going to be starting within about a month. And this is my annual Advent scarf work, or my Advent scarf pattern that I join up with. And there's a group over on Ravelry, the Sock Madness group, and it's tied in with everyone, or it's tied in with the group that do Sock Madness from March through about June every year. And one of the women who organize and run the whole group she started in, the first one she did was back in 2010. What she does is she had set up and came up with a design each year from 2010 all the way through. So this is the 11th year that she's doing this. And what she does is she creates a pattern, and it follows a different theme and a different style every year. And what she does is she has it set up as an Advent project. So what she will do is usually roughly around the first week of November, which is why I'm starting to get all excited about this, because I know it's getting closer. Every year, the beginning of November, she gives us a hint about what type of yarn we should be using, what size needles we should be using. I'm trying to remember if she gives information on the gauge. She might. She might also give a hint about what the theme is, because each year has a different theme. And then starting with around the 1st of December, sometimes it'll start a little bit before, sometimes it doesn't start till the 1st of December. It all depends on the project or on the pattern for the year. Then what she will do is, starting when it starts up, usually around the 1st of December, each morning there will be a new clue, and it'll be a portion of the scarf. It's usually about that much of the scarf. It might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, depending on what the design is. So the designer is on Ravelry. She goes by the name Zemi, and the designer's name is Trisha Weatherston. And every year she designs this, and designs a new scarf pattern for all of us that are interested in joining along. And it's set up so that it gives you a little bit of downtime every day leading up to Christmas, and it's a busy time of year for everybody. And it gives us an excuse to sit down, have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, some kind of beverage of our choice, and spend a little bit of time just with some quiet downtime for ourselves to knit a little bit of the scarf. So every morning there's a little bit of time to, if you want, you can choose to have a little bit of time each day to work on your scarf. And then by the time we get to Christmas, we've had all the clues, and we have a new scarf come Christmas. So she's been doing this, as I said, the first one came out in 2010. I first joined this and first did the Advent scarf in 2013. I have 7 of these scarves already. And the funny part is I don't really wear scarves that often. I really don't, but it's such a fun project. It's such a fun thing to do. So I'm missing the first 3 scarves. So what my plan is, eventually I will get the patterns for those. I might have already bought them already. I'm gonna have to double check that. But I want to make the first 3 scarves as well. So 2010, the theme was lace. I don't recall what weight of yarn this was. They're usually anywhere between fingering and sport weight yarn is what they've typically been. You can use a different weight yarn as you want. You can make it a little bit wider sometimes. You usually can. You can vary it. You can make it a little bit smaller by using a bit smaller yarn than is called for. You can make it larger by using a heavier weight yarn. So 2010 was lace. 2011 was texture. 2012 was cables. I really want to do the cable one. I love cables. So again, each year has a theme. Like we saw, there was lace, then texture, then cables, and those are the 3 I've missed, and the 3 I do want to go back and knit. But here is my, look at that, oh my gosh, isn't that glorious? Here is my stack of Advent scarves. So from 2013 to the bottom one is 2019. Ambulance. So the bottom one is 2019. I don't know what the theme is for 2020. That'll be announced probably next week sometime, the next week or 2. But we appear to have a bit of a palette that we go for. Pinky purples, pinks, purples, blues. That's clearly my color palette, clearly. But I want to talk about each of these scarves just a little bit. I'm not going to go into super gory detail on them, but it's just been such a fun thing. It gives us a chance, again, you just spend a little bit of time each day knitting. Like I say, I normally, when this is running, I will make myself a cup of tea in the morning. I'll print out the pattern, or I will get it up on my computer screen, and I will drink my tea and work on the knitting for that day. Some people that work on these, it just takes them like a half an hour to knit that clue. Spoiler alert, I often fall behind with these as well, because the first part of it's coming out while I'm heading into the end of the semester teaching. I've usually got a backlog of grading that I have to catch up on and finish. Final exams are coming up, end of semester, all that stuff. So I typically fall behind. You guys shouldn't be surprised with that. So let's look at all this. Let's look at all the scarves. 2013, my first year, the theme was stranded, and this one was fingering weight yarn. And here's just an example of, oh, it was so pretty. That's just half, and we'll go down the other half. So with this one, I used Knit Picks palette. I have no idea what these colors were now, and I don't think I even put down much detail on my Ravelry page. Unfortunately, I just didn't put enough detail. I will put a little thing with each of the pattern names and a link to each of the patterns down in the down bar below in case you're interested in going back and picking up the pattern and doing this at a later date. So this one was Knit Picks palette in a dark gray, blue, and pink. I don't remember what the color names were at all. Actually, let's move my pumpkin out of the way. Let's just stack these here. 2014 was Ripples or Chevrons. And what did I use? That was another fingering weight. This was Knit Picks Chrome fingering weight yarn. And this one I might have used a lighter weight than what it called for. I don't remember. But again, each day there's a new part of the pattern. Some days it would be the whole thing. Sometimes there would be some days you would have half and half, but some of the chevrons are a lot more apparent than others are. But that was a really fun one to knit. Like I say, I enjoyed all of these. I think I struggled a little bit more with the stranded color work because back in 2013 I was a lot newer at it and I hadn't really a lot of experience with doing that type of pattern. So there's year number 2. Then 2015 was Cables and Lace. And this one I used Frog Tree Alpaca Sport in a blue. So like I say, I have a thing for blues and pinks and those kind of colors. See. I'm getting tangled up here. Showing off scarves is a little trickier than I thought it would be. Some more of the lace showing up here. This one was a lot of fun to, who am I kidding? These have all been a lot of fun to knit. So that one was fun. Like I say, I enjoy cables, so I had a lot of fun with this one. Just put this guy, fold him up again. So I am really excited to see what this year is going to be. (2016) was mosaic knitting. So this one was a lot of fun to do. It was a lot more, it was a bit more of a challenge for me. I hadn't done a lot of mosaic knitting before this, so I was learning a lot more with a different technique, and I had a lot of fun with this one too. So this one I used, it was a fingering weight, or I used a fingering weight again. It was, I used Lana Grossa, and was the color, and I used a Knit Picks Bare wool silk blend. I don't remember the exact name of the yarn at this point. But this one was a lot of fun also. And it was neat because the yarn was it was a long gradient. So this one was a lot of fun to knit, especially with the gradient. The gradient made it really fun. So there we go. That was 2016. So a few of these took me a little bit longer. I'd have to double check on each of my Ravelry pages to find out when I actually finished each of these. (2017) was a little bit different. It is, again, it was a stranded color work pattern. And this year we made a cowl, and it was done as a double-sided cowl. So you knit along, and then it came to a point where you did some work that caused it to fold and come back down. So it was double-sided. You fold it in half and had like a double thickness in the cowl. So this one was a lot of fun too. So this one I used Knit Picks palette. You'll recognize some of the colors from the first colorwork shawl or colorwork scarf. So here's the one half, and this is the other side. So this one was, again, this was another one that was really fun to do. And again, I used a variety. This was in mostly pinks, purples, and grays, but this was a really fun one too. So that was 2017. 2018, the theme for this one was, what she did was she used different stitch patterns that came out of a Japanese stitch dictionary. So this is a whole variety of stitches. This one I knit using a sport weight, and I used a Knit Picks Stroll sport weight yarn, and I dyed the yarn myself for this one. And it was a kind of a tonal purple is what I ended up with. I think, yeah, no, I've got it the right way. So there's a lot of cables in here. There's baubles. There's some lace components. This one had a whole variety of really cool things in it. So that was 2017. No, 2018, sorry. I've got a fluff in my eye. Hang on, we need to take a quick break here. Hang on. Alrighty, back again. Hopefully I think I either an eyelash or a fiber in my eye. I'm not even 100% sure I got it out properly. So bear with me if I'm winking at you. But we're getting close. We're getting close to almost done here. And the last year, in 2019, the theme was Gansey. Am I pronouncing that right? Gansey. And so for this one, I used Fiber Natura Lima, which is a worsted weight yarn. And this is probably one of my largest scarves. And again, I love this one too. So I used a lot of combinations of like the knit purl stitches. So this one's quite a bit wider than some of the other ones, but you can see how it's got a little divider between different sections. So we've got some cables, we've got some lace, we've got all kinds of fun stuff in here. And I like the fabric in this. I have more of this yarn that I'm planning on using to make myself a sweater. And I think it's going to make a really gorgeous sweater based on just the way this is looking. It blocks nicely. So there we go. So that is my Sock Madness Advent Scarf Parade. I say I've made 7 of them now. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've made 7. This year, when the new pattern comes out, will be scarf number 8. And I am going to go back and I will make the other 3 scarves that I've missed so that I have a complete collection. Like I say, and I don't often wear scarves. That's the funny part about this. I'm not a major, really not a major scarf wearer. I like the look of them. I enjoy knitting them, but I just don't really wear a lot of them. It's not that cold where I live, and I don't wear a lot of them, but I just think it's just so much fun to have this whole collection. So Trisha, if you're watching this, love them, love them, love them, love them, and I can't wait to start the 2020 scarf. It's going to be a good one considering everything 2020 has been. But I'm really excited to see what we have in store for our 2020 Advent Scarf through Sock Madness. And I know that all the other people in the Sock Madness group on Ravelry are really excited and eager to see what's in store this year. And I'm really eager to see what the material list is, whether it's another fingering weight, whether it's a heavier weight, whether it's something I'm going to be able to make from my stash or something that maybe I'll dye some yarn for. I don't know. And that's a bunch of the fun of it. And like I say, as you can see with doing my slipstravaganza shawl, I like a mystery knit. And the Advent scarves are typically not a huge amount of knitting per day. It can be anywhere from 15 to 40 rows in a day, depending on how wide the scarf is. It's just a nice amount of knitting each day. I'm gonna say I do sometimes get behind, of course. So once we get into the end of November and December, you will be seeing me showing off my newest Advent scarf when I start knitting that one. because I will be joining in on that particular project once the time rolls around. So I'm really excited for it. So otherwise, I don't think there's a whole lot of anything else new. Work is work. No big changes there. I'm still grading, still teaching on Zoom, still counting down the days until the Thanksgiving break and then the Christmas break. Yeah, still counting that down. But anyway, I don't think I have much of anything else to natter with about today. So I will let you go. Take care, and I will see you guys next week. Bye now.